Hi squirrels, it's nice to be speaking to you again. I've got another book for you today. It's a story called Growing Frogs. The author, the lady who wrote it, is Vivian French, and it's illustrated, the person who drew the pictures, by Alison Bartlett. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Ooh. One day when I was little, my mum read me a story about a frog that drank and drank and drank and grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Afterwards, Mum asked me if I'd like to watch some real frogs growing. I know where there's a pond with lots of frogs' eggs in it, she said. We could bring some home. I was frightened. I don't want any frogs jumping about, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I said. But Mum gave me a hug. It's only a story, she said. Even when our frogs are grown up, they'll still be smaller than my hand. Oh, I said. Okay. Next day we went to look at the pond. The water was dark brown and there was grey jelly stuff floating on the top. Yuck, I said. There's the frog spawn, said Mum, and she pointed to the grey jelly stuff. I bet that was laid last Friday night. The frogs were croaking so loudly I couldn't get to sleep. You see the black dot in the middle of each jelly shell, said Mum. That's going to grow into a tadpole. Where are the frogs? I asked. Tadpoles grow into frogs, she said. Little ones. No giant frogs here. Mum put some pondweed and some stones into a bag. She filled a bucket with pond water. Then I scooped a little of the frog spawn into it. When we got home, we put everything into a big fish tank in the kitchen. The cat kept peering at it, so we had to put a wire net over the top. I counted 27 little black dots. Each dot was inside its own jelly shell. Every day when I woke up, I went straight downstairs to look at the frog spawn. The little dots grew into bigger dots and then into tiny commas. And one morning I saw the first tadpole wriggling out of its jelly shell. At first the tadpoles didn't do much. They just stayed close to their jelly shells and nibbled at the pondweed. But after 2 or 3 days they looked quite different. There were feathery things on their heads and I could see their eyes. They swam very fast. 10 of the eggs didn't hatch out. The black dots went dull and cloudy and Mum took them away. Then we cleaned out the tank and put in fresh weed and pond water. One of the tadpoles swam into my hand when I was putting a stone back. It was slippery and slithery and it made me jump. After a bit I got used to having tadpoles and I didn't look at them so often. When Mum told me that their little feathery bits had gone, I didn't believe her. But it was true. It was me that saw the next change though. Look! I shouted and Mum rushed to see. Some of the tadpoles had grown 2 little bumps. Mum said that the bumps would grow into back legs. They grew very quickly. One day there were 2 little bumps. The next day the bumps were stumps. The day after that they were almost proper legs. And when the feet unfolded they were webbed like tiny browny green fans. They aren't tadpoles anymore, I said. They're not quite frogs. The not quite frogs grew front legs next. And then their tails got shorter. And their mouths got wider. Now they're frogs, Mum said. Baby ones. Soon the baby frogs were popping up and gulping at the surface of the water. One of them tried to climb onto the stones, but it slid off. Mum said they were getting ready to leave the water. Grown-up frogs breathe air, she said. That's what the stones are for, so our frogs can climb out of the water and breathe. Not long after that, Mum said it was time to take our baby frogs back to live in the pond with all the other baby frogs. I was sorry to leave them, but Mum said we could come back and visit every day. One rainy morning a week later, Mum woke me up very early. "Hurry," she said, and we ran downstairs and out to the pond. There were hundreds of tiny frogs hopping over the grass. "They're looking for dark, wet places to live in," Mum said, "but they won't go far, and in a couple of years they'll be back to lay frog spawn all of their own." "Will they be bigger then?" I asked. "Just a little," said Mum. "Good," I said. "I like having frogs jumping about, getting bigger and bigger and bigger." Right, that's the end of the story. I hope you like that. And we've got some very exciting things to show you actually, because we've actually got at my house well, they were tadpoles, but now you'll see they're starting to change. I think we've got some pictures. This is when we first got them. We got them from one of our friends who's got a pond in their back garden. So we didn't have them as frog spawn. He caught us 4 tadpoles, so we've only got 4 of them. So here you can see, this is when they first came and they were little tadpoles. That's the gravel around them that we've got in the bottom of the tank. That's another one. It's a bit blurred. You can see their tails. That's their head. So you can see they're starting to get bigger now. Their eyes are starting to go a bit more bulgy. Their tail is a bit longer. They're just bigger altogether. They've got a bigger part here. And you can see those little bumps that the little girl was talking about. And you can see their mouths. Oh, they're eating some peas. That's what they like to eat. Here they are, getting bigger still. So you can see, mouth is changing, the eye again. That little stump is growing even more. There it is again, that's a good one. You can see the stumps growing. And then those stumps got bigger and bigger. And you can see the back legs started to grow. Still got the tail, but the back legs started to grow. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to see our tadpole not quite frogs. Okay then, so here are our tadpoles, frogs. We wouldn't put them normally in direct sunlight because they don't like it to be too hot. But you can see probably in here, I hope you can see, that they are moving around the tank. I think there's one there on the rock that we've put in for them. And they're at different stages at the moment. When they first came to us and they were little tadpoles, they ate a herbivore diet. So we know what herbivores are from science. So they ate vegetables and algae. We gave them peas, that's what they liked, and bits of broccoli. Now that they are turning into frogs and they've got those front legs coming through, they've actually changed. They're not herbivores now, they are carnivores. So they eat, when they're in the wild, they eat things like flies. We're feeding them some fish food now. We couldn't give them that when they were little babies because that wouldn't have been any good for them, but now that they're turning into frogs, we can give them some of the fish food. And you can see our water's quite clean. We have to clean them out twice a week. You should always leave them in pond water. That's what's good for them. If you have to use water from the tap, you need to put in some of this special stuff that takes the chlorine out, because all water from our taps has got chlorine in. This takes it out, so it's safe for the tadpoles to be in. Okay then, we've got them out of the tank to show you a close-up of them. Just put them in here for now. You can see they're at different stages. So this one here, he's still very tadpole-like. He's got his back legs but not his front legs. Same as this one here. Then we've got these two. Whoops. This one's still got quite a bit of his tail, but front and back legs. This one here is the most frog-like. He's froglet now. You can see his tail is really, really shrunk. He's got front and back legs. So his eyes are quite different. So you can see the eyes on the tadpole ones are still quite sunken in. His face has changed shape, this froglet here. I don't know if you can see him. Here he is. So they're very, very different now. And actually, within the next day or 2 days, these two will have to be released back to the pond because they need to now be in the wild and out in the pond. Once they get to this sort of stage, they need to be released. The other ones, we need to wait for them to grow their front legs a bit. Okay, here he is on my hands. Can you see him up close? Oh, he's very jumpy. And oh, there he goes, back into the little pot.
Like a little diving board.
Yes. Okay, it's time for me to go now, squirrels. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing the tadpoles and the froglets. They'll be going back into the wild very, very soon. I hope you've enjoyed the book, and I shall send you another video message soon. I'm missing you lots. I hope you're all well. I hope you're having a fab time. Bye for now. Bye.